so appreciate your presence. I'm so looking forward to sharing something that's going to give you some kind of new perspective when it comes to this thing known as personal branding as a process. I want to go straight to the point to actually share with you what I need to share with you for the next 20 minutes. A few days ago, I published a video talking about personal branding. I was in this video talking about, I gave the example of Neiman Marcus and as a store in North America, saying that yes, a personal brand is a smell, it's a fragrance you have to protect. You have to know exactly what you call to represent, and make sure that as you actually you have your clear vision as far as your vision is concerned. As you go about that, you have to make sure that you put together a list of top priority that you have to adhere to on a daily basis, and make sure that anything that does not speak or that's not aligned with this priority cannot actually be found in your midst. Why? Because, for example, if you say to yourself, I will be selling top items when it comes to fashion, men's or women's fashion, and that's your goal, you have to stick to that. You can't be going to into this business and next thing you know, people start seeing that you want to mix that with selling I put a very extreme example just to actually illustrate the point. You start selling saltfish, because that's going to lead to a place where that fragrance of saltfish will be doing what we call in the world of in the videos, we call it an egress. So that smell will be going into the smell of what you're selling as fashion items, and eventually the designing people who want to actually buy from you will simply say, no, my friend, this is too much. I can't be buying suit from you that smell like saltfish. I'm just going to walk away. So again, what is a personal brand? Personal brand, as simply say, it's a fragrance. But above and beyond, a personal brand is actually something more key that we have to understand in the world of chemistry. Personal brand is a living cell that's made of molecules, that's made of atoms, and so it's something that's living inside of you. So it's looking for an opportunity to express itself. And once you give it the room, the time and space to actually express itself, the living cell will start to grow and start attracting other living cells. And with this living cell, will start building something concrete and something tangible, such as a tissue that's going to surround you and give birth to something that you can simply imagine, simply say, my goodness, how did this personal brand give birth to this thing? Why? Because you have simply allowed for that living cell to simply express itself. And as it started expressing itself, it will start now attracting like-minded cells, and together will give birth to a tissue, and tissue will give birth now to a body. Tissue will give now birth to a body. But if you don't know exactly what your personal brand is, or if you don't know what the living cell is, what you're going to do is you will simply be mismanaging the living cell, and the living cell will be put now in the company of other cells that will simply come and crush it, or simply it will become simply a moment of repulsion, and before you know it, what you had as a promise will simply start dying, because they will simply say you don't understand what you had as far as the living cell is concerned. So that was it, first point. Second point I would like to share with you, the example I was giving a few days ago when it comes to personal brand is something that you have to protect. You can't be selling, let's say, top fashion items and at the same time mixing that with selling a saltfish. And I know that some people may be on the fence. Simply say, Dimitri, you can't be saying that because you know what? My father, my grandmother, or I still sell fish. So because I sell fish, I am somebody. Of course you are somebody. Of course you matter. But your personal brand is actually selling fish. So that's fine. And as a matter of fact, there's absolutely, again, I'm saying nothing wrong with selling saltfish. And I'm going to give you today just one key example to clarify exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to knowing exactly what you are called to do and what you are called to be. And once you know what you are called to be, once you start doing what you are called to do, you're going to have exactly what's supposed to actually come through that promise of that personal brand. So again, your personal brand is a living cell that you have to understand. And once you understand it, it will start attracting other living cells, and together will give birth to a tissue and actually to a living body that will simply emerge. Perfect example. Let's go to the Congo. In 1938, and somewhere in a place known as Sonabata, so sometime in July 1938, was born a young man that came to be known as Franco Luambo. Yes, as a champion was actually born in 1938. At one point, his family simply said, now we're going to relocate from this city, we're going now to go to the main city, which at the time was called Leopoldville, now known as Kinshasa. As they moved there in around 1945, this young man simply said to himself, I feel like I was born to actually be a musician. So he goes and actually put together something that was going to be a makeshift guitar. So he's just playing with that, just trying to figure out exactly how to make music out of this. One thing led to another. Slowly but surely, this guy become extremely good at actually playing guitar with this makeshift guitar. The sound that's coming out of this instrument starts sounding extremely amazing. But as fate will have it, around 1948, so about 3 years later, his father passed away. And as his father passed away, as the main breadwinner for the family, his mom simply says, my goodness, what am I going to do now? So I have to find a way now to provide for this family. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go to the market because I used to sell bread before I got married. I'm going to go to the market and start selling things so I can put things on the table for my family. And as he started doing that, the young man said to himself, no, I can't let my mom go to the market by herself. I need to figure out exactly how I'm going to support my mom. So I'm going to also drop out of school and go to the market to help my mom sell whatever she's selling in the midst of all this frequencies such as starfish. And he goes to the market to mommy and he said, but I'm not going to go there to actually sell fish or to sell bread or to sell whatever she's selling and the way she's supposed to be selling. I'm going to be there just to find a way to attract customers to her stall. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take my makeshift guitar and other instruments I may have found, such as harmonica. I'm going to go and start playing music so that people can pay attention to what she's doing. And guess what? That's what he started doing, and eventually this will become a success. People start coming and say, my goodness, let's go to the market to see this young boy who's about 10 years old, is playing music with such future, so we have to come see him. But let me just slow down for 1 second. Why am I saying that personal brand is a living cell? Because at the time, back in the days, in this country known as Belgium Congo, now known as Democratic Republic of Congo, at the time, when the Belgians come into the Congo, they have this crazy policy. They simply say, yes, in order for you to make it, we're going to tell you what the step you have to take in order for you to become someone within our society. You have to go to school, because when you go to school, you keep going to school and you start learning certain skills within the school system, you're going to become what we call simply evolves, or someone who is actually able to function within our society. But if you decide to actually not go to school, you're simply going to become a nobody, because the system has no need for people who don't go to school. So by deciding to drop out of school, Franco Luambo can simply say, I'm not going to be an evolved person. I'm going to simply be a regenerate as far as the society is concerned. But I'm still going to find a way to know who I am. And that's where you have to know exactly that a personal brand is about a living cell. As a young man go to the market, he's playing music such a virtuoso, but as he's playing music, says, my job, my portion is not to be in the market as a merchant. I'm here to simply let the world know that I have a talent, and I'm not going to be ignored as far as who I am is concerned. Slowly but surely, of course, once I spreading that there is a genius playing music in the market with such vision, you have to go see him. And of course, as things go, living cell attract another living cell of this virtuoso, so attracting the living cell within somebody else by the name of They were young, an older brother simply says, my goodness, this young man, you're playing things so well. Let's just come together and find out to actually play music. I'm going to actually be your mentor. Not only your mentor, we're going to find out to put together, my goodness, living cell. We're going to attract other living cell. And together we're going to put together a group, a musical group called What Time. That's what they did in about 1950. And as they started doing that between 1950 and 1953, they performed so many different places, and they actually owned the craft so well that, of course, rumors are spreading about their talent. So it wasn't a matter of time before they decided to go to a recording label. Hell, at the time, by someone by the name of Henry Bowan in 1953. Simply say, yeah, you guys are playing very well. I'm going to let you play under my label known as Loningisa. So as I was playing with Loningisa from 1953 until 1956, Franco Luambo can simply say, yes, this is good because I know that my living cell is now actually growing. It's actually going to place, it's expressing itself. But I can't stop him, so we have to go find a way to become a natural band. Because this guy, everybody does not see the vision that we have as far as this thing is concerned. Why? Because again, the personal brand is now growing to find a way to actually express itself. 1956, they go now audition for someone who at a bar by the name of Oscar Kashala. Oscar Kashala simply say, yes, I like the music, I like the sound of your music, so I'm going to hire you to become a full-time band. But you need to find a name for your music, for your band. And the band is saying, we're going to call ourselves OK, or OK, because, yeah, we're going to take your initials, Oscar Kashala. But Luambo Makete said, no, it can't be after this guy. We have to say OK, simply mean orchestra of Kinshasa. But he said, no, it can't just stop. We have to find something to make it sound more different. We're going to call it OK Jazz. So that's how they started the name OK Jazz between 1956 until the 1967. At the time, Luambo Makete is in the background just playing his guitar. It was just writing music, but it was just mostly playing the guitar in the background because the group was actually led by people such as Vicky Longomba, the father of this young man known today as Willow Longomba. So Willow Longomba and somebody else were actually leading the group until 1967. At that point, they decided to leave. And as they leave, Franco Luambo Makete, the living sense, it was actually so big, it simply took over and simply said, now I'm going to be the one in charge. From 1967 until 1989, when he passed away at the age of 51 years old, this young man came and took the world of music and took it by his own and gave us something completely unique and something completely different. Why? Because he simply was there to show that, yes, your personal brand, my friend, is simply a fragrance. That's what I was telling you about a few days ago. But today I'm simply here to tell you that your personal brand, more than that, is simply now a living cell. And once you understand how a living cell works, and you give your living cell the chance, the time and space to grow, the living cell will start growing and will start attracting other living cells, and together they will form a tissue. The tissue will start eventually forming a body, and the body will actually come to simply tell you that, yes, whatever thought, whatever feeling that you have in your mind as far as who you call to be is concerned, once you start being that and you start doing things that are consistent with that being, eventually what you're going to do, you're going to simply have something tangible and concrete to give to the world around you. So, personal branding is simply about chemistry. It's simply about chemistry, because once you understand that the idea that you have of being something is simply a living cell looking for an expression, my friend, you're onto something really big. Let me just end with just one quick example. In November 27, 1942, in America, when Jimi Hendrix was actually born, he quickly had an idea, yes, I'm going to be a musician. But he did not know exactly how this was going to come about because they were really poor. So every day when his father would leave the house and simply says, yeah, now young boy, go clean the house, he would take the broom. He cleaned the house. After cleaning the house, he was just take the broom, the bin of straw, and would start actually streaming, playing with that broom. And eventually, because he would be playing with so much passion with that broom, eventually all the straw will be all over the place. And his father will come and be very upset and say, "But I've asked you to clean the house. How come the house is messy?" But what he did not know was that the living cell was looking for an expression, and that expression was simply looking for it to simply try practicing how to play the guitar. Eventually, when the father caught on and realized that, yes, my son is simply trying to practice how to play the guitar, he went and actually bought him an electric guitar. Again, living cell looking for an expression, attracting to itself the resources, the people, and the things that you need for it to express, to better express itself. As the father buys the guitar and he starts playing the guitar, two key things happen. Number one, the father realized the son is actually left-handed. The father simply said, "No, my son in this country being left-handed simply is not good, because spiritually, back in the days, a left-handed person is actually a man possessed by the devil. So you can't be doing that." So the son simply said, "Yes. So as my father is around, I can't be playing with the left hand, I'll be playing with the right hand. But as soon as I leave the house, I'll be playing with the left hand." So doing that led him to a place where he started expressing himself. Oh my goodness, the living sense of expressing himself with both hands, both with the left hand when the father was not around, and the right hand when it was around. Before you know, when this living sense came to a place where he could no longer be ignored, he went on to perform with different places, and the people were always amazed by his ability to play both the right and the left, and to play with such virtuoso. Why? Because he gave the living cell the permission to express itself, and that simply led to him becoming this absolutely magnificent player who amazed the people that known back in the days in England as the god of guitar, otherwise known as Eric Clapton. And eventually in 1968, and that's just something that always sticks in my mind, is 1966, when he went to perform in Woodstock, he was playing the national anthem with the guitar. He played with so much virtues. I simply said, how is it possible that this young man is playing the guitar and is causing the guitar to speak and to sing better than the voice of many people out there? Why? Because the young man came to simply understand that your personal brand is simply a living cell looking for an expression. And once you give it the expression at the time and the space to actually express itself, it will simply go on to grow and start attracting the resources, the opportunity you need. It's need to actually grow and become simply a tangible reality in your life. I want to say, before I go, just one quick example. Because I keep saying, I've been saying for the past few days, that we are not physical being having a spiritual experience, but we are spiritual being having a physical experience. When you come to understand, you come to see that yes, you are first and foremost a spiritual being. And with this comes a great responsibility to know how to navigate in the spirit realm. Let me just end with this one example. I'm going to close. In the Bible, there's a story about this young man by the name of Moses. Moses goes before God. Moses is actually called before God. God said to him, I'm going to give you a personal brand. I'm shooting on the story. He said, God said, I'm gonna give you Moses a personal brand, and your personal brand is going to be, I'm gonna give you the title of leader. You're going to go out there and be a leader within your community. I'm going to give you the fragrance of a leader. I'm going to give the fragrance of leadership. I'm going to give you otherwise a living cell known as leadership. Moses said to God, but yes, you're going to give me the fragrance of leadership. You're going to give me the living cell of leadership. But I think you're talking to the wrong person, because I don't believe I have what it takes to actually be a leader. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make a fool of myself because I've been just working as a shepherd. So how can possibly a shepherd go out there to work and lead people to a better place? And of course, at the time, the person or the entity hiring Moses simply says, but Moses, you're completely dumb. I'm telling you, I'm giving you the fragrance of leadership. I'm giving you the living cell of leadership. If you understand personal brand, you will come to understand that yes, the living cell, once you accept it, what's going to do, it will start attracting the resources, the people, the opportunity, and the things you need to actually express itself. And before it will start attracting, everything you need to actually go on to become big and become something tangible in your hand. And the key question asking me says, if I call you a leader, that means that you have the ability to transform what you have in your hands into something people can see it. In the case of this young man known as Luambo Makiadi, it's simply the makeshift guitar, but because he was so into the personal branding process, the guitar basically became this huge band and became eventually this huge entity that we came to know as OK Jazz and revolutionized the world of music in Africa. That was number one. Number two, in the case of this young man born in November 27, 1942 in America, Jimi Hendrix, he had the idea of music, and the idea of music eventually gave birth to this broom, and the broom gave birth to the guitar, and the guitar gave birth to the Jimi Hendrix that we know as the master of this thing known as guitar. Number two. Number three, and in the case of Moses, God is simply saying to Moses, I'm going to give you this idea as the ability to simply, oh my goodness, transform the reality around you into something completely different. If you don't understand what I'm saying to you, take the staff in your hand that you believe that this is just for shepherd to actually go around with the sheep. No, take it and just try to look at it and see what's going to happen. It didn't want to say, oh my goodness, it transformed itself. It simply say, yeah, duh, because once you accept the identity of a leader, or once you accept the fragrance of leadership, once you understand the living self-leadership is going to go on to simply start transforming things around you into something completely different. And before you know it, you're going to be something completely different in the eyes and the ears of the people around you. All right? In 1976, when this young man by the name of Steve Jobs got together with Steve Wozniak and simply said, we're going to put our minds together and put together this brand known as Apple. People were making fun because they simply saying, yes, you and Steve Jobs, you smell bad because you eat crazy things. Your body odor is completely, yes, repulsive. We can work with you, so how can you possibly believe that you have what it takes to put together the next big brand as far as the world of IT is concerned? They made fun of him, but because the living cell, my goodness, because the living cell was so powerful at the time. When they got together, Steve Wozniak, they found a way now to put the mind together, and slowly but surely, it started giving birth to tissue. Tissue after tissue, it came eventually to come to a place to give us this birth to this thing known that as Apple. And why? Because why this thing is so important? Because once you understand what the living cell is, once you understand how to express yourself in the context of a personal branding, my friend, you will simply come to have a clear vision, and the vision will simply give birth to goals and sub-goals and top 3 priorities, and these priorities are the thing that will be guiding your life. And if anything or anyone is not aligned with this priority, my friend will simply say no. The living cell will simply say no. This person got a goal. This thing has to go, because we have to remain focused. We are here to actually deliver something key. And once you do that, my friend, eventually what's going to happen is you're going to stand yourself, because you're going to give birth to a tangible reality that will simply let the world in how, because they say how this thing come about, because they will not see that the personal branding process was already at work. A living cell was at work in the world of the spirit realm to simply give birth to more living cell, and eventually to give birth to something tangible for the whole world to actually behold. Alright? I'm so looking forward to sharing more with you in the days to come. Until then, take good care, and remember, personal branding is a process. It's a process where you're simply called to acknowledge the living cell within you. And that living cell, once you give it the time, the space to actually express itself, it will simply go on to simply grow and start attracting other living cells. And together, it will simply come to a place where they will start transforming the seeming lack in your life, the seeming nothingness in your life, into something tangible. I gave you the example of Luambo McKenzie. It was simply thrown into the market to actually start playing music for his mom. I gave you the example of Jimi Hendrix in America, who simply was given the opportunity, was looking for an opportunity to express himself by simply playing with the broom in his house. Eventually, that idea gave birth to a natural guitar, and eventually became the prominent man that we know in the world of music. And I finally give you the example of Moses. Moses was given a personal brand. The brand was simply say, you're going to be a leader, but he simply say, you're going to call me a leader, but I'm a shepherd, so how can I possibly go out there to be a leader? But God simply said, but my son, I'm telling you that, my God, personal brand is simply a living cell. If you embrace the living cell, you're going to simply come to the ability to transform the reality around you. As a matter of fact, to prove it, I'm going to ask you to take a piece of wood, just like I gave this young man back in the Franco Luambo, the piece of wood. It turned the piece of wood into music. I'm going to ask you to take that staff in your hand, to put it in the ground, and see what's going to happen. And what it was simply amazed himself, because he realized, oh, this chemistry work. This living cell actually can transform itself and transform things around it to actually give birth to something tangible. And that's when he started paying attention, and eventually it went on to actually make history as far as the world of leadership is concerned. Alright? But of course, before you go, 4 key things I'm gonna kindly ask you to do. Number 1, please make sure to hit the like button as far as this thing is concerned. YouTube knows that we're delivering great value as far as what we do is concerned. Number 2, please make sure you leave a comment in the comment section to tell me where you're watching me from, so I know exactly, who I'm talking to as far as what I do is concerned. Number 3, please make sure to share this video with as many people as possible. Last but not least, please make sure to subscribe if you've not already done so we can continue to grow together as a tribe. Alright? Take good care, and for the time being, I'm out. Alright? Love you so much. Mwah.